1899 has come out on Netflix a few weeks ago, a new show from Baran Bo Odar and Jantje Friese, the creators of the hit German series Dark, available also on Netflix. This is the first season of the planned 3. It's got 8 episodes, around an hour each, and like Dark, it skirts the border between science fiction, horror, and mystery. The setup is this. In 1899, there is a passenger ship going from Europe to America, a ship named Kerberos. The main character that we follow, a woman named Mora, is searching for her brother, from whom she recently received a mysterious letter. She suspects he was a passenger on the previous ship from the same company, the Prometheus, because both the ship and the brother went missing around the same time, a few weeks back. And things quickly turn stranger on the cruise when the ship actually receives an SOS signal from the Prometheus, from the missing ship, and they end up locating that one, along with a number of supernatural events that quickly follow. So it's kind of difficult to it's kind of a difficult task to review the first season of this show, because it feels very much incomplete. It's like the first chapter to a larger story. I thought about it really hard since yesterday, and I tried to come up with an analogy, and here's what I got. Watching this first season, to me, felt like going to see a magician perform. And he says that he's going to do this elaborate, complicated trick. And he tells you to pick a card, and after that he hides away the rest of the deck and then produces a rabbit from his hat. And then he asks you how you're liking this so far. I mean, the rabbit is cool, I guess, but how does it relate to the cards? And where did the cards even go? And will you guess the one that I picked, or what's going to happen? So, to put it differently, the show at this point feels like a lot of setup, and it can go either way from here. It can either be that the next seasons build on it and expand on it in smart ways and explain the unexplained in satisfying ways. Or the show will stay what it currently is, which is, unfortunately to me, a jumbled, pseudo-intellectual mess. I mean, the show tries to present itself as this complex, intelligent thing about human psychology and the implications of Plato's cave allegory, tries to ask serious questions about the nature of reality and trauma and stuff like that, but I'm not really buying it. I think that all of that is purely surface level, and the things that remain unexplained are unexplained not because the writers want us to figure stuff out ourselves, but because they themselves don't have satisfying answers. That's my take on it. I think that there are a lot of plot lines that are introduced and end up going nowhere. There are plot devices which seem to follow no internal logic, but rather do whatever the writers require them to do at any given time. There's very little actual character development, and after 8 hours I still feel indifferent to most of the cast. The thing that I'm still sort of scratching my head about is that the main plot relies on a certain character that has more information than all the others, and yet he doesn't reveal that information except at the last possible moment, even though at the end, when all of his background and motivations and plan are finally revealed, it would have made more sense for him just to explain everything right away, and then the show would be done in 15 minutes. And like with this, I felt that there were other things happening in the story which didn't have a good explanation or a reason in the universe, only to extend the mystery for a longer time for the viewers. Now, there were some things I did enjoy. I liked the cinematography, I did like the performances, I did like the atmosphere of the creepy ship in a historical setting. I also liked the approach of having most of the characters be from different countries and speak different languages and having to overcome that sort of obstacle in communication. I think that was a really cool thing to do, even though that also slows down any character interactions and development. But on the whole, I think it just wasn't enough. The show was literally making me tired of itself after each episode. Honestly, I would compare it to Lost, because there's a number of similarities, even with the setup. A group of people being isolated from the larger society experiencing supernatural phenomenons, and we, the audience, learning about the background of those characters through the device of flashback. But I think 1899 fails in two major aspects that Lost excelled in, and both of those are really aspects of the writing. One is balancing the ongoing mysteries with providing satisfying answers. What I mean is, in Lost, there was always a lot we didn't know, but the show was clever enough to feed us some answers as time went on, and to do so in cool ways. Whereas in 1899, I feel that after an entire season, I still know fuck all about what's going on, and you know, who wants what are the motivations. I really don't know what the show is about. And secondly, perhaps even more importantly, Lost was extraordinary in terms of character development and exploration. And 1899 feels like a really starved version of that. Yeah, we do have those flashbacks and some character interactions, but on the whole, I felt each character is sort of paper thin so far, and I really didn't get any emotional attachment to and even one of them. So listen, I know I've been bashing the show pretty hard so far, because it is true, I'm quite disappointed with this first season. I expected more, but I do want to go back to that magic trick analogy and say that with elaborate magic tricks, you have to wait until the end, until the prestige, because maybe the way it's all resolved and explained in the end will retroactively make the first season better, because we will suddenly realize things that we don't realize now, and it will make sense in retrospect. Question is whether it's worth it to invest 8 hours of time at this point when all you really get is a messy, jumbled mystery show, and not know if it'll be worth it in the end. I have to say I kind of regret the time investment. I think my recommendation to others would be to really just wait for the other seasons to come out, see what people have to say about them, and then make a decision. Because so far, it's been fairly disappointing.